Development block EU. Removal of magazine detonation mechanic. Close test 13.11. Holy shit. Based on the feedback of you, community contributors, and other volunteers, we have decided to change our stance on the magazine detonation mechanic and are going to remove it from the game entirely, starting with update 13.11. God fucking bless. God fucking bless. They stopped pretending to use their historical accuracy argument, which they kept using to fucking justify this bullshit. And the reason, like, I think a magazine detonation mechanic could work in World of Warships, and I think it might even make the game cooler. But it would have needed serious tweaks, which they were clearly not willing to do. The first tweak would have been that it should be a class-wide mechanic or game-wide mechanic. But of course, the issue with detonations was that submarines can't detonate, and even dumber, carriers can't detonate. Like watching Taiho, a ship that fucking historically blew up, detonated because they fucked up their circulation and they put fuel vapors and it basically turned it into fuel air bomb and the whole thing just blew up. Like the idea that a carrier, a literal storage point for fuel and ammunition, can't detonate, but then every other surface ship in the game can detonate, was so fucking stupid. Kaga and Shokaku did blow up too. Yeah, exactly. Like the whole concept of we want this mechanic in the game for historical reasons, but then we casually exclude 2 out of 5 classes from the mechanic entirely. That was completely demented. So that was the first issue, which made me really despise detonations. The second was that it was you put on a magic flag and suddenly it's no longer a mechanic. So it's just like a money thing. You put a flag on, it's gone. You don't have a flag, you might get completely fucked. So it was just in every way terribly implemented. And my third issue with it was there's no cool visual. Like, have you guys seen what it looks like when a detonation happens? It's this fucking basically mushroom cloud, gigantic fucking explosion, like this insane, literally a fucking detonation. I mean, that's what it is. Like I think there's some like there's the HMS Barham explosion, and I think it was the Arizona exploding is also fucking insane. Like there's a fair few of them, and they're all like they're these insane explosions. Yeah, this was HMS Barham. I'm gonna have to mute it, but for issues, but like this, it was struck by a torpedo. The HMS Barham. It was struck by a German submarine, and this is what happens when it detonates. That's what a magazine detonation looks like. That's what a magazine detonation looks like. So if in World of Warships we had detonations that were actual fucking detonations, that would be cool. But what we just get is your average standard diff explosion that all the ships have, but all you see is a small little icon that says detonation in the bottom right. That's the only visual indication of a detonation. So it's just boring. It's visually uninteresting, mechanically uninteresting, and mechanically imbalanced because it was only 3 out of 5 classes. So I feel like detonations could have been a part of the game, but first of all, they should have been wide. Every single class should have had them. Second of all, the threshold can't be 75% because that just feels fucking unfair. And third of all, it can't be like a flag that randomly removes it. If anything, the threshold should have been something like 15-20%. So when you're at the sliver of a health, that's like you're fucking you've taken a shit ton of damage and you're on the edge of living or not. That's when a detonation then needs to be this huge fucking explosion, this visual thing. That's a mechanic that I think could have worked. But honestly, since they're not willing to go there, especially they're not willing to add detonations to carriers and subs and so forth, because they're completely unwilling to go there, just removing it is the better choice. Just completely removing it is better. Yamato after going boom. Yeah. I mean, that's what it looks like. That's those are fucking destroyers, man. That's Yamato. Like, if the visual indication in the game was like that, then it would be a lot cooler. But right now it's just this dumb, normal, nothing special happening. Ship sinks. In reality, it's like 80%. In reality, it can be you die from 100% because what happens is this each hit from a volley has the chance to cause a detonation. So if the first shell, let's say, sits you and takes you below 75, then every follow-up shell has a chance to detonate you. So that's why, for example, carrier HE bombs tend to detonate a lot of destroyers, because the first hit takes them down below the 75 threshold, and then the splash damage from all the other HE bombs can detonate you. DD was the most fucked class. That's also because they have exposed magazines. Like any and HE hits tend to have huge splash, so it goes straight through. The splash damage goes straight into the magazine. So any HE hit in the general vicinity of a DD had a chance to cause the detonation. As a result, we're making these additional changes with the start of the update. The Juliet Charlie signal will be removed from the game. It will be replaced with the Charlie Kilo signal once update 13.11 goes live. After removing Juliet Charlie signal, which provided protection from magazine detonation, we decided to replace it with a new signal, which will provide a decent bonus and utility to all different ship types. Charlie Kilo will have 5% ship HP, 2.5 squadron HP. That's a pretty strong flag. I mean, it's a decent flag. It's not gonna change too much. On a battleship with 100k health, we're talking 5,000 health. On destroyers, the benefit will obviously be significantly smaller. So a 20k HPDD will get 1,000 health. It's worth running for sure, but it's not really the end of the world if you run it or not. I think it's a bit stupid that they make it percentage based though. I really don't like these percentage-based modifiers, because obviously the more health you have, the more valuable the flag is. Which is stupid, because generally people who want to run things like this is the ones that have low base health. They want to run additional health, where chips that already have a lot of health, they don't really need to. So the problem, this is kind of like when they changed the turret traverse mechanic. It used to be, it gave you a flat bonus to your turret traverse, and then they changed it to a percentage buff. Which means that if you had a slow turret traverse, you got a smaller benefit. Whereas if you had fast turret traverse, you got a bigger benefit. So it was kind of fucking backwards. And this kind of reminds me of that change. It's like the ships that need it the most get the smallest benefit. For all players who own Juliet Charlie signals up to 13.11 lives, the full amount of signal in inventories will be replaced with Charlie Kilos at 1:1. I do like this though, because it makes this flag less mandatory. Like, playing ranked without detonation flag is just griefing. Playing ranked without Charlie Kilo that's gonna be fine. Like, not a big deal at all to not have the 5% health. It's whatever. So I do like it, and also it's removing a huge aspect of RNG. So overall, a really good choice. The Juliet Charlie signal will also be removed from various different distribution sources like combat missions, containers, and others. Magazine Mod 1 upgrade will be removed from the game, with everyone who owns this upgrade receiving 100% compensation in credits. I wish they would change it instead. The India X-Ray and Juliet Whiskey Una 1 signals currently have an effect that increases the risk of ship's magazine detonation. These effects will be removed. This magazine mod upgrade being removed, I don't actually like it. I feel like they could do a lot of interesting things here. Like, we have survivability. Why not add something like Traverse? Or actually, since this is armaments, why not add something like faster ammunition switching? Because then you would make this perk less mandatory on many ships, the gunfighter skill. Like, if the gunfighter skill is minus 40% main battery shell switching time, why not make one that is like, let's say, minus 20% shell switching time? That would be interesting. Then you could slot, instead of having turret or secondary survival, you could slot faster ammunition switching. That would be an interesting upgrade, and that would be something to replace it with. Because that would fit magazine mod. Like, it would be a magazine modification. They wouldn't even need to change this fucking thing. Like, they wouldn't even need to change the icon or the name. They would just change it from detonation to ammunition switching. Like, this would be a very simple way of reusing assets and getting something interesting in the first slot. But, I mean, it's wargaming, they don't really listen to feedback. It took them this long to get rid of that, so whatever. Whatever. Just get rid of, yeah, I mean, they could get rid of the plus icon. They get rid of the plus icon and they just leave the magazine mod like this. And then it says minus 20% ammunition switching time. And then you can combine it with the perk if you want for faster ammo switching. Could be interesting. I don't know. What do I know? I just like play this game a fucking shit ton. Yeah, no, I think that was all the new deblocks. We looked at the Hambird thing. I'll post that on YouTube at some point as well. That does not look particularly interesting though. The making the fucking dockyard ship so fucking expensive.